Good morning, world. I am Judy, your web-based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida and New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Today, I wanted to talk about 5 ways that the rest of the community can help us. I know in the last few days we've talked about a lot of things that Black people need to do, but we don't live in just a Black country, a Black nation. We don't just live in a Black community. We live in an overall community that includes a lot of people, and we all have a part that we can play in ending racism and stopping racial injustice. So today I wanted to talk about 5 things that other communities can do to help in this fight against racism and racial injustice. First, nurture a culture of inclusivity in your communities as well as in your organizations. A lot of times people talk about their personal values that, hey, I'm not a racist and I believe in inclusion and this and the other, but we don't see them including it, making it a point to have that reflected in organizations and in communities. So when you're working in your community, make sure that whatever work you're doing in your community, you're nurturing a culture of inclusivity, meaning that when you're putting together the city festival, think of people who from different cultures than yours. When you're deciding who's going to be on the board. And that's one of the things. A lot of times you see organizations talk about, we are diversity. But when you look at their board, when you look at their higher ups, and it's like, okay, where is your diversity there? So make sure that you're nurturing a culture of inclusivity, making sure that everyone feels welcome, that everyone feels that they're a part of the organization. We're not asking to we're not telling you, hey, lower the standards, because we have people of all different, Black people are in everywhere. They have all the same skills. They have the same knowledge. A lot of times they have even more because they've had to work that much harder to get to where they are. So the resources, it's like we're out there, but you're not tapping into it. So nurture a culture of inclusivity. You will find very well qualified people to meet whatever needs that you're looking for. Very highly qualified, but you have to, sometimes it requires taking the extra step to reach out and get them, because they may not be your next door neighbor. They may not be your friend's daughter or something. So it may require an extra step, but nurture a culture of inclusivity. Make sure that everyone feels welcome. Everyone feels that they have a place in your community and in your organization. 2, stand up for injustice when you see it, or stand up again to injustice when you see it. A lot of times people will see things, they'll hear things, and they'll be uncomfortable. They may even disagree with what's happening or what's being said, but they sit back, they stay quiet, they don't say anything. Remember that silence is consent. You don't always have to wait for the Black person to be the one to point out that, hey, that's racist. No, if you see something being done and you think that's racist or you think that's just unjust, say something. Don't wait for the Black person to say something, because a lot of time when the Black person is the one that says something, people look at it, oh, there they go again, complaining, Black. But when someone else brings it up, then it makes it, people are more likely to stop and think, oh, okay, so if this other person who looks like me is saying that, maybe I should consider it. So don't just wait for the Black person to always be the one. And sometimes we're just too tired. We have to pick our battles. We can't just fight every one of them. Sometimes we just don't have the energy. So we need you to step up when we're either not there or we just don't have the energy to do it. 3, don't partake in the marginalization. A lot of times you'll have people say, yeah, they use Black jokes. They were making Black jokes, but I wasn't a part of it. I wasn't having it. I wasn't laughing with them. It's not enough that you didn't make the Black joke. It's not enough that you didn't laugh at the Black joke. It's more, silence is consent. If it's happening in your presence, if it's happening in your environment, and you're just ignoring it and letting it happen, you're saying, or at least the people around you are hearing, oh, okay, she's okay with this too. She agrees with me. She feels the same way, because you did not state specifically, no, I disagree with this. No, I don't feel that way. So make sure that you're speaking up. Silence is consent. Don't partake in the marginalization means you don't do it, and you also do not agree. You do not condone. You do not let other people do it. If you see someone doing something, say something. Take advantage of opportunities to learn. Yes, there are so many opportunities, so many great opportunities to learn from things that are happening in your community, from the opportunity to speak with and talk with people in the community. A lot of times there are things, our cultures are different. Yes, we live in the same country, but different people, different families have different things that we do. It's okay. People will teach. People will gladly answer a question. People will gladly work with someone who is seeking knowledge. As long as if you're not being that stereotypical, all Black people are athletic or that kind of stuff, but it's okay to ask questions. If someone asks me a genuine question, I have no problem just sitting there and answering the question. And that's the same for many of us, where we will take the time to teach. If there is an event happening in your community, take time to partake, take time to learn. Because one of the things that makes things so tense right now is because there's such a great divide where a lot of times it's like the people outside of the Black community don't know us. They don't understand us. They don't get us. So taking the time to ask questions and learn and get to know us, get to know who we are, will help bridge that divide and help you realize that, oh yeah, they're like humans, just kind of like the rest of us. They put on their pants one leg at a time, just like the rest of us. So taking the time to get to know people, get to understand their cultures, get to understand the individuals will help you build that normalcy, that camaraderie, help you feel, like they're part of your community, because they are. Well, finally, once you learn, teach. Each one teach one. When you get information, bring that information back to your community. Bring that information back to your environment. Bring that information back to your family. It's weird that every time there's a racial conversation, it's always, hey, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Dr. King, Malcolm X. And it's like, yeah, there were so many other thousands of hundreds of people who are involved. And there are so many great Black people right now. There are so many great Black leaders right now. But people are not taking the time to know them because we're so focused on, those two. If I know those two, that means I'm cool. No. Once you have had the opportunity to get out and get into the different communities, talk to people, teach others, show others, because it's great that we love that you're taking the interest, that you're taking the time to learn and be more understanding and develop that compassion. But it's important that after you get that knowledge, that you go and you bring it back to others, because we don't just want you to be knowledgeable. We want our whole community, our whole society to be knowledgeable, because it's only when we get to understand each other, we get to know that who we all are. That's when we start having that peace where people don't feel as threatened, as different, as whatever that feeling is that's making people feel that they need to mistreat Black people. Maybe if we can get people to understand the humanity, the normal, the human of Black people, we can help resolve this issue. Okay, quick recap. 1. Nurture a culture of inclusivity both in your communities and in your organizations. 2. Stand up to injustice when you see it. Do not wait for the Black person to be the one to do it. 3. Don't partake in the marginalization, and silence is consent. Even if you didn't tell the joke, the fact that you just sat there means that you agree with it. 4. Take advantage of learning opportunities when something's going on in your community and you get an opportunity to learn something, because learning and understanding each other is one of the ways that we're going to bridge that gap. And of course, once you have had the opportunity to learn, take the time to teach, because as I said, learning and understanding each other is how we bridge that gap. So we need more than just one person to know it. We need everyone to know the information, everyone to understand each other. So take the time and teach. Of course, as always, if you or someone you know happens to be going through something that's more than you can handle, please remember that even right now, when many things are so chaotic, there are professionals like myself who are providing remote services, who are available, able, and willing to help with whatever you may have going on. So figure out who those are in your community so that you can reach out and get the help that you need. And that is all we have today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.